Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever it might be. It's great to be in the Empire today. Just want to give you guys a little bit of an update. We're winding down the day. We made a lot of videos. We did a Juhani Omicron video, put a card in the top right-hand corner. I just finished editing the Kenobi episode 4 review. That will be out tomorrow. I was going to put it out tonight, but I think we need to talk about something else. It seems like we got our first hint that Datacrons are coming soon. We see it in the data mine. I highly suspect, as I'm going to show you, as the tinfoil hat has spoken to thee, Datacrons are probably going to be here by next week. It's one of those things that we're not sure what it's going to be about. We're really worried about it based on the data mine. It's looked more negative than positive. Whatever the case might be, I'm going to be here to help navigate us through whatever's coming our way. But I want to kind of let you know about a few things for that, to kind of wrap up your day over here. So why don't we bring you on over here, show you the first thing here, and that is the Datacrons. We also have a Finn Omicron territory battle Omicron, but I want to show you some cool stuff about the Radis character. Holy cow, we're gonna be doing a live stream testing on that tomorrow when it goes live, so stay tuned if you want to see all that, man. I'm sure we're gonna have lots of fun showcases, but first things first, shout out to SWGoH events, data miners, man. They're like the unofficial official means of communication for what we know what's going on in this game here. As we talked about at length, there's this weird awkward two-week break for Grand Arena. We're not gonna have another Grand Arena until the 20th, and we have this awkward territory war break. Tomorrow starts the last territory wars of this week, and then all of a sudden there's this awkward break until the 19th. So I highly suspect sometime next week we're gonna get a road ahead, and as the tinfoil hat and I predicted, it's most likely gonna pertain to Datacrons and maybe something else. Hopefully it's not just Datacrons. Card in the top right-hand corner. If you don't know what Datacrons are, go check it out. It was beta, but I have a feeling 90% of that's probably going to be the same here. And the data miners picked up the next update coming in here, and we're seeing the Datacrons show up here in a variety of different things. It's just, I don't know exactly what these particular things mean, but it's the first time we're seeing the Datacron verbiage show up in Galaxy of Heroes, which means it's tied to this update that's coming up very shortly. We have this new update and certification right now, and with this awkward break next week and this week coming to a close, I highly suspect that we're going to start seeing Datacrons coming to Galaxies, which makes sense why they're giving us a break from territories and Grand Arena, because Datacrons are meant to affect those game modes. Long story short, it's meant to give seasonal bonuses for Grand Arena and territories that you have to farm and upgrade. It's the farming and upgrade part that's throwing people off, and we're hoping that CG heard our feedback and mitigated to a great extent, or maybe even got rid of it in totality. That would be fantastic. We're not going to know until we see the road ahead and we get our hands on it, but get prepared for it. Just want to let you guys know something big's coming. It's probably going to drive people away. Every big update that comes, relics, new mods, Gear 12, Gear 13, always drives players away. This might be another one of them, but we're going to figure out a way to get through it and hopefully into the next future of Galaxy of Heroes here. Next thing, there's an update that was posted today. Why don't we go ahead and talk about a few things here? Admiral Radis, first thing, I kind of agree. It's great seeing Rogue One get help. I love that. I give CG a lot of crap, but for the most part, I'd say 90% of their characters have been great. Shorty making droids really good. Iden Versa making leftover garbage troopers. Into the next era of the Empire. We can go on and on and on. Really, we can nitpick. Lord Vader, maybe Talon was just kind of barely cutting it as okay. She didn't really transform anything like some other things out there. And then, of course, there's the Omega meme. But for the most part, they've been doing great creating these one-off characters that do great things. And I'm really excited to see this, but I do agree that we probably should have had Saw Gerrera, if anything, be the big boost for Rogue One and not necessarily Admiral Radis. But one interesting thing I do want to bring to your attention, holy cow, it's going to be a fast character. Again, the kit's pretty nuts, it's pretty bonkers, but it needs to elevate a pretty garbage faction that wasn't even great back in the day. Trude and Baze were really the only shining forces of that team there. So we're seeing crazy kits for Radis. But check this out, 194 speed on Admiral Radis. Whew, you're gonna be able to set yourselves up for some really nice plays in that. So excited to get my hands on it. We're gonna try some low start thing because it's a support character. We can maybe have it work at low start. So stay tuned for that later on. Moving on next here, important thing. We are gonna have Outrider farmable. Fleet Battle 3C, so it's gonna be fun farming that for 10 months because we know that they never double the blueprint drops, so that's gonna be a long farm. Outrider's been kind of interesting. It's not a necessary component of the Rebel fleet, but it's a nice replacement if you don't want to gear up Piston and Rebel Pathfinder. We made videos on it. It's an all right ship, but not needed. Makes you wonder if there's going to be a bigger fleet down the road. One of the conversation pieces has been Profundity, I believe, is what Admiral Radis led the charge on. Other important thing, if you are looking at Grand Inquisitor, which word industry speculation is it might be coming out next week as well for the Grand Inquisitor. So even though there's a big gap in the schedule, I think we can probably assume there's gonna be some big stuff happening sometime next week. And if you are someone pursuing the Grand Inquisitor, Fifth Brother is on Cantina 4A. So I believe that's the only Inquisitor that's not on a hard node. So it breaks up the monotony a little bit, replacing Mace Windu, which is still be farmed from Lightside 2E, and also Squad Arena. So no tears spilt on that one right there. Jury's out on what the Grand Inquisitor is going to be like. I've heard some pretty wacky stuff, alleged leaks. I'm not going to elaborate on because I'm not 100% sure if they're going to be true. Unlike some other leaks, you can tell some leaks are more true than others. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see if this is going to be a faction worth building up. But I will say this, CG has nailed the Inquisitors. So far, I've not been impressed with the Inquisitors in the Kenobi show, so they've done a pretty solid job. Lastly, before we wrap things up here for our evening on Old Holland News here, we got a Finn Omicron update. Nice thing about Finn, you gotta gear him up for Rey. You want to get some use out of him. You guys know my opinion on these Omicrons. Grand Arena, the bread and butter. Territory Wars, not as important, but you can make an argument that maybe you should invest like 10% of your Omicrons into Territory Wars. Territory battles, man, it's gonna be great for Territory battles, I assume. But the problem with Territory battles is not we need teams. We have the teams out there that can beat it. We just don't have enough GP in the game to max out the star count out there. People can get perfect battles. That's not enough out there. Nonetheless, if you're someone that maybe plays the game very slowly, and you know you're not super competitive in Grand Arena Territory Wars, this is probably the third out of the 4 game modes, the third best game mode to invest Omicrons in. You kind of like Rebel Officer Lee Organic. You platoon some stuff, you can make some use out of the leftovers. So I know there could be a reason. The Territory battles, it's just you can't convince me it's more important than Grand Arena and Territories. Those are where the Omicron should be. 90% Grand Arena, 10% Territories. Something like that's better, 80-20. But anyways, let's take a look at it here. Resistance allies have plus 6% defense, offense, and potency, and other allies have half that amount. If an enemy is damaged by resistance ally, for each exposed to them, that enemy loses 5% Terminator. For each resistance ally, all resistance allies gain 3% Terminator for each resistance ally, and their cooldowns are reduced by 1. Nothing new there. One thing, resistance were great. Finley was fantastic back in the day because once you get a Terminator train roll, it just goes and goes and goes. They had to kind of nerf it because of some Sith Raid interactions back in the day, I believe, but still it's an all right C grade-ish team, maybe D+. It's not the forefront of our minds, but holy cow, take a look at all this. Wyland Territory battles, and if there are no Galactic Legends, which is weird because why would you care for use of the Galactic Legends? If anything, maybe it's going to force you to create a Resistance Raid team and then a Finn team and not combine them together. Yeah, but still, it's kind of weird. I understand maybe in Territories and Grand Arena, you create that no Galactic Legends allowed, like the First Order TIE Pilot Omicron, for example. Yeah, whatever, but let's check it out. We're going to get the 6% max health and max protection. Enemies attacking out of turn deal 50% less damage. And there's a lot of attacking out of turn in light side Genos' territory. Look at you, freaking Droideka! Stop ruining my territory battles. It's got to be calling that out. Maybe even B1. Constantly being called to assist. At start the encounter, revive all resistance allies with 100% health. Recover 100% protection and gain protection. This is basically like cheat mode. This is territory battles on cheats. Oops, I lost someone. Don't worry, I'll get him back next one. This would have been great with Galactic Legends, right? Because sometimes you lose someone. There's no Luke situation where no one's ever really gone. No, they're gone for good. This is nice. It's literally territory battles on cheat codes. So they're going to recover 100% health, 100% protection, and gain protection up 100%, which can't be dispelled or prevented. And Finn gains determination for 2 turns. While Finn has determination, resistance allies are immune to critical hits, have 100% counter chance. So this is nice. It's a good, but it's just, unless they create a new light side territory battle, this is just not going to be appealing to a lot of people out there, I feel like. And then whenever a resistance ally uses this special ability, dispel all buffs on target enemy, inflict expose, which can't be Vader resisted. Whenever another resistance ally is damaged by an attack, Finn has a 20% chance to get 100% turn, so like a B2 super battle droid situation. Then he can taunt or try to get the exposed train rolling again, whatever the case might be, get the cleanse, the heal, and if an enemy is damaged by a resistance ally, For each exposing them, deal additional true damage to all other enemies, so like Bad Batch, almost. And then the resistance allies recover 10% health and gain 2 speed, capping up at a max of 60 for the rest of the battle. I mean, holy cow, this is it's a good Omicron if you care about territory battles. This might be one of those Omicrons where, kind of like Rebel Officer Leorgana, I'm not going to give you a really hard time if you invested. If you invested in Karth, I'm giving you a hard time on that one. But this is one of those Omicrons where it's like, all right, maybe it's going to be like Rebel Officer Leorgana. It's going to be help like those entry-level guilds trying to crack into GOT. But again, those Omicrons are going to be put somewhere else. You're going to eventually develop the teams to tackle light side Genos and territories. But I suspect this is probably going to be up there with Rolo for best territory battle Omicron. So that's pretty much going to wrap it for our evening news. I really just wanted to put this video on just to let you know, get prepared. We got our first little teasers that Datacrons are coming. I highly suspected, even when I saw it, like, oh boy, this is what the next road ahead is. Because anytime there's like one of those big leaks, I know CG, they try to pretend it's so many months away, but when a big leak like that happens, that usually means it's coming in the next big update, the next big road ahead. So usually within 2-3 months of a big leak like that, it comes to fruition, and here it comes. I mean, they did confirm the leak was real, but they made it sound like it was far off. It's not. It's here. We'll see what it's like. Just like when relics came into the game, it's like this. The game doesn't need new relics. The game doesn't need... maybe it's my problem. One of the biggest things I'm always consistent on, I don't like new progression. You don't need it. You don't need it. All it does is just the equilibrium just moves up a little bit. Everyone gets to the new equilibrium, and it forces you to, it makes your old characters not as viable, and it makes you reinvest into the characters again, just to make sure you get to that new equilibrium that everyone's going to inevitably hit at one point or another. Not a big fan of it, but we'll see what it looks like. I do like seasonal bonuses and power and new effects. I like that. It's the pay to win aspect and the grind aspect and the temporary power that make you lose your resource afterwards that I'm not a fan of it. And maybe CG heard our feedback and they'll make changes. Anyways, we'll find out next week. In the meantime, relax. Tomorrow, Kenobi episode 4 review in the morning. What the heck's going on at the show? And then, of course, Admiral Radis testing later on. But more importantly, thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me as always. Always an absolute privilege. You guys keep the lights on here. And with that in mind, always remember that it's great to be, oh yeah, in the Empire today.